Hello and welcome to Baking Butterly Love. My name's Katie, and in this video, I want to show you how you can easily make buttercream flowers using drop flower tips. Okay, so this is a drop flower piping tip. They come in different shapes and sizes, but they all have this basic sort of star-shaped opening with a small piece in the middle. And if you turn it around, you can see from the inside, that little piece is there to help those 5 holes stay separate rather than letting the buttercream pipe out all in one blob. Now, the way that you want to use these is to simply pipe in short bursts, twisting the bag as you pipe. And you generally want to twist clockwise, although for a lot of the tips, it doesn't really matter which way you twist. Make sure you stop squeezing before you start to pull away, and pull away rather quickly so that you get a nice clean break. So that's the basic method, and then another technique I want to show you with these tips is that instead of piping with just that one short burst, you can also sort of build up a roughly shape by twisting back and forth as you pull up. So this doesn't look quite as much like a flower, but I do think it adds some nice variety if you're doing like a whole arrangement of buttercream flowers. Now that you have the piping technique down, I'm just going to get my cake ready. You can pipe these flowers with any sort of stiff buttercream. I'm using Swiss meringue buttercream in this video, but you could definitely also use Italian meringue or American buttercream. And I will leave links to my buttercream recipes below if you want to check those out. After your cake is frosted, I would recommend chilling it before you move on to piping the flowers. Just in case you bump into anything, you don't want to mess up your base layer of frosting. So for this design, I'm using 4 different colors and I'm doing 4 different drop flower tips, although the main difference between these tips I'm using is mostly just the size rather than the shape. And I think it's easiest to start with the bigger sizes first and then gradually fill in between. So I'm going to start off with my bigger tips, which are a number 109 for the light pink color and a number 190 for the darker pink color. If you want to create a more organic look like I'm doing here, you'll want to pipe the flowers in clusters of odd numbers and also pipe them slightly overlapping. With these smaller drop flower tips, you can pipe individual flowers, but I decided to go for a clustered sort of look. So with this small tip, the number 129, I'm going to use that same short twisting motion, but I'm actually building up a mound of many small flowers. And then with this blue, which is a tip number 224, I'm doing more clusters, but this time I'm using that taller roughly technique that I showed you earlier. And finally, another fun way to finish these drop flowers is to go back in with a small round tip and then pipe some centers onto the larger flowers. And continuing with that sort of organic look, don't be afraid to build up some height for your flowers by piping them just right on top of each other, or by piping flowers that are slightly hanging over the sides of the cake. Alright, so that's how to use drop flower piping tips to create a beautiful buttercream flower cake. These are a really great way for beginners to start piping buttercream flowers, and if you use a nice pastel color palette like I did here, this is a perfect design for springtime. And speaking of colors, if you'd like to learn more about coloring buttercream, I do have a free course available. It's called Color Like a Pro, and in that course I go over the science of buttercream, I show you how to color it, and also how to match exact color palettes. So I will leave a link to that in the description below for you. Thanks so much for watching, and if you like this video, subscribe to my channel for more cake decorating tips and tutorials.